Hello everyone, Marianne here from Revealing Light Tarot, Astrology and Spirituality. How are we all? Wherever you are in the world when you're watching, a huge shout out to you. Okay, so we've got a lot to get to. I want to take a look at King Charles's natal chart. I want to also look at Donald Trump. If we've got time, let's look at what he was doing in Virginia, having a meeting where everybody was tense. So whether he was there, as he says, working to, do some construction on his golf course, I don't buy that. It was a very, 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 very tense meeting. So if we've got time, we'll look at that. Also have his chart up and his transit. So that's pretty interesting as well. I do want to pull, I've got the Shadowscape deck, very, very soft kind of energy here, followed by the Thelema Tarot. I do want to just look at Zelensky. Is he okay? Look, he's got every reason to celebrate. As you know, a month or more ago, I talked about Ukraine retaking the Kherson region. And of course, they're only 10 kilometers now from Kherson. Zelensky went to a liberated town. On his return to Kiev, he was involved in a traffic accident. He's okay, guys. He's okay. He's being reunited now with his family, obviously. It must have been a very, very worrying trip for them. This is a very courageous leader when you're dealing with the macabre nature of Putin and what he does to people. Also, Zelensky's okay. Zelensky's got every reason to celebrate. He's an absolutely courageous, inspiring leader for the Ukrainian army. On the other hand, you now have a growing dissent in Russia calling for Putin to step down. There are all sorts of rumors going on. He's not dead yet. I should say that, shouldn't say it like that. But he does have like that Ides of March energy hanging over him. I think in my timeline, I looked at maybe early next year, around February, for him to possibly be assassinated, but also removed from power. There is a Russian female journalist that has had to flee Russia. She says, this is coming. He's going to be deposed by the junta around him. And she says, I'll be back in Moscow by spring. So very interesting, very, very interesting there. So on the one hand, you have a leader that has right behind him. Russia invaded in a brutal invasion and has committed war crimes. We've seen that all play out. You have one leader with this right on his side, and therefore right is might. And on the other hand, you have a failing leader who is likely going to be done in by the people around him. So let's just check that Zelensky is okay. Okay, so I'll just ask, I know Zelensky's okay. Can Ukraine win this war, win this invasion, push Russia all the way back? Can Ukraine win against Russia? So we have here the Three of Cups, which is support. They win with our support. And it's also a celebratory card. The Four of Cups, though, that's interesting. There is some deep soul, like it's like I'm going to say soul searching at the cost and price of this. So any victory is always going to be tempered by that kind of the melancholy, the sadness, the grieving over what has been lost there. So even when they're celebrating, even when Zelensky's walking with his troops, seen in those photographs, there is this deep sadness there. But it's also taking a stand despite all of that. The Strength card at the foundation of the reading here, Ukraine is strong. we're seeing how strong they are. The foundation of the reading is what holds everything up. What is holding their victories up is strength. In the past, we have the Death card, and that's why the Four of Cups is showing up here as crossing the celebratory card. It is the high price of war. So, you know, we've always got to temper that. Now, the Page of Swords in the sky here. So this is kind of like a Libran energy. It is young, a youthful energy as well. It's also carrying, the page also carries the sword of truth. So absolutely, their victory will be hinging on the rightness. It's almost like it's a divine type of victory, but it comes at a high cost. They need to be careful all the time of spies within the camp. The Eight of Wands, things coming very, very quickly, can be missiles coming through the air, but this is, I asked, will they win? The Eight of Wands is we're going to see them take more of the southeast of Ukraine, and it's going to occur very quickly. Now, we have here the Five of Wands. So obstacles and challenges, anyone who just thinks this is a walk through the park or a walk over their win, no, absolutely not. So they move into winter, there's going to be like a slowing down. And the Four of Swords, which is like, it's like the death around, it's like the mortally wounded in battle. So, you know, while we can celebrate at the foundation, celebrate their strength because we are helping them win, there is this really, really realistic energy here in the present. The Chariot is the hopes and fears. People are wanting them to drive Russia out quickly because winter is coming up. And we have the Ten of Swords. So, you know, again, I'm just seeing this kind of, I don't know, Seven of Swords. It's not going to be an easy victory. They have choices to make about how many more lives are going to be sacrificed. I think Putin's trying to mobilize again, and I don't think he's going to be entirely successful. The dissent against the invasion is growing, but this is his next step, I think, is trying to mobilize. Nine of Pentacles. This is the money and support that they're needing from overseas, foreign type of energy, which provides them with a new start. These are good cards for the win, but it just, I don't even know that we can actually phrase it like that. There's something they don't get that they want. But yes, they're going to drive Russians out as far as they can, but it is not without cost. And at some point, I think Zelensky has to, he and Ukrainians will decide when this finishes. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like that. Now show me Putin's cards. Show me Putin. How are things going for Vladimir Putin? That's what I'm going to ask. And let's see a couple of cards here. Maybe I'll pull a smaller Celtic cross. How are things going for Vladimir Putin? It's just like, I don't know, like it's a sad thing that hundreds of thousands are going to, will die by the time this is all finished. Yes, they've got reason to celebrate, but it comes at such a high cost. So let's see, how are things going for Vladimir Putin? How are things going for Vladimir Putin? Four of Pentacles, they're running out of money. They're running out, doesn't matter what propaganda comes out, they're just running out of everything, including manpower, or sending troops, more troops in. What's crossing them, though, is strength. So they're not done yet, but I think the money is starting to, you know, Putin says they're okay, sanctions haven't hurt, but that's not entirely true. There's an insecurity here around money and weaponry and logistics that I see, which is impacting on their strength. Page of Pentacles as the foundation of the reading. They have been cut down to size. How's Putin going? Queen of Wands, she always comes up in, she's in the past. This is maybe descent coming from females. It's also a female in the past that we may not know about yet. So I'll just put that out there. Many have suggested it's Navalny's wife. I don't know. Two of Cups, we're talking about, okay, it's a female close to him. This always comes up. Oh my goodness. Eight of Swords, panic, paranoia, restriction, being caught, being in prison, feeling like he's in prison. I maintain this woman close to him will betray him. The 10 of Cups, the family card in the here and now, and the 8 of Wands, things moving very quickly. He could move. We might find out that he's moving his family somewhere safe. He is under threat. The 7 of Pentacles, in the hopes and fears, a review of some sort, plan B. What's his plan B? The 9 of Cups, wish fulfillment in the outcome, but it is clarified by the major arcana here of the Devil. So he's going to pull something. I mean, I have to be straight up. 6 of Pentacles, giving and receiving help. He's going to pull some kind of help out of the back of his pocket. It's a devil-like energy, and it's somebody that owes him. And we've got the 6 of Cups, somebody that owes him from the past. We also have Justice and the Sun, letting us know that as this moves forward in my timeline, as we get closer to February or early next year, Putin could be betrayed by someone very, very close to him. She opens a door. She doesn't lock it up. The junta come in and do what they need to do. So he's facing a lot of dissent, but he's not done yet. He's pulling something out of the back of his pocket, which is why I see Ukraine having this celebration now, but there's something else that Putin's going to do before we get to the end. I wish it was another way. All right, let's take a look at some charts now and see. I think we'll start with King Charles's chart, and then we'll move to Donald Trump's. Let's just get this set up here. So King Charles the third, he was born on the 14th of November, 1948. A lot of 4s there, a lot of 8s, 9s and 1s. So foundational, a lot of foundational energy there. He was born in London, I think at Buckingham Palace. So what I see here, we have seen some of his temper type of displays that I mentioned the other day and in my reading. And of course, we saw another one where he was signing something and ink got out of that pen, and he got up and, said he hates all of this. And yeah, and I think he said, I don't know whether he swore, but he was terribly angry. Of course, we know that if that had have happened to the Queen, then the Queen, of course, would have just smiled, and that would have been the signal for another pen. Charles is obviously grieving, and grieving very, very, very solidly. And when I look at his chart, I can see why. It's almost as if his mother was his anchor. He's got his sun in Scorpio in the 4th house. So the loss of his mother is like the major watershed moment in his life. The 4th house is about home. It's about family. It's also about the mother. It's also the female, feminine energy. And look at all these planets he has in this fourth house, which is both straddled by Libra and Scorpio. Scorpio is all about death and rebirth. Now we have here the Mercury sitting alongside of his sun, and his sun's just in Scorpio. It's almost like he is a subject to his fate, because that sun, if it had have moved to the fifth house into Sagittarius, would have been a totally different thing. The fifth house is all about expression and creativity, finding a way forward through this learning about yourself, through innovation, through, creativity takes us to the outer realms where we bring back inspiration, as does Sagittarius energy. But no, the sun is in Scorpio. So Scorpio, of course, rules the eighth house of death and rebirth. So Mercury, it's quite interesting, is opposite, forms an opposition with the moon and the north node in the 10th house. Of course, the moon is the symbol for the mother, for the feminine, for the emotion. The north node, of course, is in Taurus and stability here. The moon is just in Taurus. So I've heard people say that it feels like an instability is here through the death of the Queen. On another note, his moon and north node, I think the moon's just in Taurus at 0 degrees 25. His way forward is not going to be through, with his moon there in Taurus, it's not going to be through this kind of aggressive type of thing. He's actually soft. He's quite soft, and within that softness there is a very, very, very strong mind. And so there's a sextile here to Uranus. I think it's in Gemini, and this is showing that he's not going to be a traditional type of ruler. He's actually going to do things in a far, far different way, because his role model was the Queen, was a female, not a male, was the Queen. And so he's going to try and emulate that kind of stability. Now, the first house here is he has Pluto in the first house in Leo. And so the other side of him, now I'm not saying he's like, has this kind of two sides to him, but I guess I am saying that with Uranus in Gemini. Uranus, these are things that come out of the blue. It's like dynamic change. His Pluto there being in Leo, it's like his self-expression. He may have had, he has been facing restrictions in his expression all his life. Maybe that's why the sun didn't quite make it into the fifth house. So there are, I guess, issues, deep issues around him kind of being limited in what he can say and what he can do. I think he's worked really hard throughout his lifetime. We have the Saturn here in Virgo. Virgo is the work sign. And of course, Saturn is, of course, also hard work. He's worked extremely hard for the community in his lifetime. So the more difficult pattern here as I go to is Mars and Jupiter. Again, Jupiter just inside Sagittarius. I see that a lot. It's like it's at the end of a cycle of a house and a sign, on a couple of occasions in this chart. And I think that kind of shows us that he ascended the throne. What is he, 73? It's like at the end. All right. I was going to say I don't think he'll be a long ruler. But anyway, that's maybe for another time. We've got Mars and Jupiter here in Sagittarius, but there's a hard opposition to Uranus here in Gemini. So he's really in the fifth house of self-expression. He's holding himself back all the time. It's like a limiter is on his tongue. We have here, we'll go to the fourth house, and we've got Neptune in Libra, and Venus also in Libra. This is a man with a very keen sense of social justice. But it's like if this chart was at another time, if he was born in, say, his son's time, we see the potential for this king to do really good work. But unfortunately, he carries with him this restriction, and it is around his self-expression and what he would like to do. He's always being reined in. I don't know what that does to somebody, to somebody's soul over a lifetime, to be so restricted. So in an upshot, I think these displays of quick anger are coming from that place of restriction, and there's a lot more going on internally with him than what we can see. We just see these flashpoints coming out. I haven't looked at his transits in this reading, but perhaps I will at a later time. This is someone that has a great deal of potential, but unfortunately his wait has been so long that it's unlikely at 73 that he will go on for decades. I just don't see that. When we see Pluto and Uranus in these kind of precarious positions, and we've got his sun squaring Pluto and Venus squaring Pluto, we could see some more outbursts, and ultimately they're not going to play out well, given that we're already seeing clips going viral. I wish him the best in whatever time he is reigning. I do see a man that, born in a different time, could have achieved so much because of that soft energy that's really here in his chart, particularly in his 10th house. Okay, so that's Charles. Let's now go to Donald Trump. Okay, what do we got for Donald Trump? Is this Donald? No. Oh my Lord, I should have named these files, but of course I didn't. Let's go here. Oh, come on. Oh, sorry, folks. Let's grab it from the desktop. Might be the best. I know that I put it here. Yes, here we go. Donald Trump. Okay. Look, first of all, I want to say look at this chart here. His action is in the final kind of quadrant of the zodiac, almost like, again, like Charles, it's like he's here for this time that we live in. I see so much. Okay, the two things that are jumping out here, the Neptune and Jupiter in Libra, and Neptune squaring Mercury in Cancer. So a lot of this action is in his 11th house, and of course his second house of possessions and community, and the second house is ruled by Capricorn. So we've got money here. And then you move up to the 11th house, which is the collective, and he's got the ability in Cancer, which is, you know, a very emotional type of sign. It is a cardinal sign. So, you know, it can lead, but extremely, I guess, yeah, the emotions are at the forefront. So this is a man who's able to tap into these emotions. And then when we see Mars in the 12th house and Pluto, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Trump was here for a reason. The reason we are starting to see soon, he is part of a reset around the, I guess, the shadows, subterranean stuff we don't see that nevertheless pulls levers in our society. And this guy's such a liar that he's turned Neptune in Libra, that he's turned his lying into a so-called truth. Again, the shyster, the Cancerian energy, the tapping into the emotions here of the collective. And so this almost like a psychosis. You go to Telegram, you go to Truth Social, you go to 4chan, is it? And it's like it's an upside down world. It's like the very things that he is manifesting, creating, and responsible for, this shadow money, pulling the levers, he's actually saying that the upside world is responsible for that. So there is a distortion, his ability to distort reality here. Interestingly enough, in the 4th house, the 4th house of home, the feminine, in Sagittarius again, is this hard opposition to the North Node, Uranus, the Sun. So there's a conjunction here between these three things in the 10th house in Gemini. Communication is his weapon. And that is actually creating the instability that we're seeing in the US. A lot of people have said, you know, this will continue after Donald Trump is done and dusted, gone from our screens, hopefully. Not quite. This is a person that has come here for this time to expose. Now you start to go to Telegram, you start to see how this is all working. When I say he's exposing the underbelly, it's because he is the underbelly. And his way of communicating, that Jupiter and Neptune in Libra in that 2nd house, it's like saying, this is what's causing all the problems in our world, when in actual fact, it's him and people like him that are causing this instability, this fear. He's very, very good at whipping up fear. And we've got Jupiter in Libra, and we've got this trine to Uranus in Gemini. Again, Gemini, the sign of communication in the 10th house. Bringing Donald Trump to justice is going to create, because this is what it's all about, is going to create this instability, more instability. It's creating violence in the masculine, 10th house being the masculine. I think the other important placements here is Mars and Pluto in Leo, this aggression in the 12th house. And so tapping into this ending of a cycle, it's almost like portraying the lies, I guess, the big lies. It's actually creating that instability at the end of this cycle. Leo is all about self-expression, the ability to gather people around, and Mars, 12th house. So MAGA, Make America Great Again, was never going to be viable in the present nor in the future. Make America great again. Mars, Pluto in Leo in the 12th house. The past. The past. We've got to say these things to hearken back so that our underbelly is not seen or heard. But in actual fact, when I said Donald Trump is exposing this, it's like he's shooting himself in the foot all the time. Now, I know this is a bit esoteric, but what I see here, this absence of activity in this part of the chart, partnerships, the ninth house, the higher house, the logic, he's almost always going to have been, given the North Node is in Taurus, he was almost always going to be exposed. And so running in tandem with the lies, with the aggression, with trying to take people back into the past, it's like that in itself is creating instability here in our world. And yeah, he was a person that came in at the end of the Pluto transit in Capricorn, moving briefly out of Pluto and moving into Aquarius. Look at his chart here. The transits, you can see the transits, Pluto in Capricorn, in that 5th house of self-expression. We're coming to terms with what people like Trump and social media platforms have done to jeopardize our stability, to jeopardize our relationships, to jeopardize the safety, given that Trump was able to produce this kind of psychosis where sane, logical people were suddenly seeing him as a savior. And the existential, I don't know what the word is that he actually is playing this role to expose the underbelly. And so when his ending comes, it's going to be huge. It's going to be because there's so much for us to learn. And we've got Saturn in Aquarius in the 6th house of public service, health, the work that we've got to do, self-sacrifice. Pluto on its way to Aquarius in in his chart, in the 6th house. So Aquarius, what's going to do him in at the end of the day is what is stable, what is good for the many. What is good for the many. So the MAGA, which is all about endings and the past, and exposing the underbelly, which is Donald Trump and the MAGAs, and I guess the irony that Trump portrayed himself as a wealthy person and was able to bring in a lot of other wealthy people with him, again, fooling them, conning them. But at the same time, where else would they go? We flock to people that we have like minds, that are like-minded. So where else would people like that, where we see so much graft and corruption simply because they have money and the way that they get money, who best to expose them but Donald Trump, because he is one of them. So yeah, it's an interesting chart. He will be taken out for the good of the many. That's how he ends. And of course, we see here Merrick Garland, the Scorpio, the person that ends, endings and beginnings. And we see someone like Merrick Garland likely going to prosecute Trump. All right, so very interesting. I hope that I got that expression right. Sometimes when I look at astrology charts, it's like looking at a map for me. And it's a map that probably spans lifetimes. You know, maybe at some point, I mean, because he's been such a potent force for evil in the world, yeah, I can only wonder about his past lifetimes. But he is here to expose, like the Telegram posters say, but they don't really know what they're saying because of this upside down world. He is here to expose himself and others like him. And MAGA is about endings. MAGA is about the past. MAGA is not a way forward. Make America great again. Is the word tautology? It's like expressing a future thought by going back to the past. The flow does not work like that, people. The divine flow does not work like that. Okay, let's see. Let's catch up as to why he was in. I said I'd do it. I know this reading's long, but let's catch up with why he was in Virginia. He said he was working. They were planning construction of the course. No, there was something else. His golf course manager was there. Various other people that I don't think have been identified. Some are saying they were staff. I didn't see anyone I knew. And of course, there was all this conjecture that it was like a mob style meeting. Let's just pull some cards as I always do. Why was Trump in Virginia? Why was Trump in Virginia? Why was Trump in Virginia? I mean, I was showing a ceiling fan. So yeah, maybe fanning the, I guess, the Q channels, that something is there to take back the presidency. It's, he's there to be reinstalled. He's back at Mar-a-Lago, by the way. Well, I think he is. And he wasn't reinstalled. Okay, let's see. Why was Trump in Virginia? Why was Trump in Virginia? There was, I feel something's just jumped up. The Empress, Russia. This was cover, okay? This construction type golf course meeting was cover for something else. And the Empress card is Russia. Now, remember, there is Putin and Trump's fates are intertwined. Putin has pulled something out. Let's have a look. Ooh, this is why he's so dangerous for the US and other the free world. Because I'm not in chains here. They're only the chains that I put on myself as a person, the learning that I've got to get through, the going down into the rabbit hole because of fear. I'm a human, but I'm not incarcerated. I don't have soldiers outside my home. I don't get arrested by the thought police, the propaganda police, if I say something. I have a good life. I don't know why I went on that tangent. All right. Okay, what was Trump doing there? What was Trump doing for cover? He was there for cover. There was another purpose. 8 of Wands, okay, fanning the flames. There's like going to be, I'm not saying another insurrection, but there's going to be a, yeah. So he was communicating. It's like he was talking, he was getting his golf course people, and I question the Secret Service around him because he corrupts everybody close to him. He was using that as a cover to get messages out to his base, to the MAGAs, the MAGAs that are expressing a slogan that resides in the past that can't be in the future. Justice. Okay, so he may not have, I don't know if anyone there was a lawyer, but he could have been giving messages to take around strategies, because this actually was a cover here. Let's have a look at these cards. Justice is at the foundation. Remember, his Neptune and what's the other planet in Libra? Mercury, wasn't it? In Libra here. So he's getting messages out to his base, some of the more seedy underbelly type of thugs that he has around him. The King of Pentacles in the past here, I do maintain Trump has a lot of money worries despite his grifting. He was getting messages out. He was using that meeting as a cover. He was asking people to do things for him. The people that he was asking to carry his water, so to speak, are chained to him, He was asking people to break the law, okay? They were hearing about an insurrection. The World card, I think he was also trying to get messages out here, endings and beginnings, big endings and beginnings here. He's planning something, but as I said, he's done. The Four of Swords, that's retreat. It's also mortally wounded, okay? So this is the strength. When I say strength, I don't mean strength in the nice sense, but the potency of his devil-like energy is all here in this spread. But in actual fact, he is mortally wounded. The Knight of Wands, movement forward. I think he was told there's an indictment coming. And I think he was using these people to get information out, perhaps to his base, but also to other people that he knows can help him. The hopes and fears that the indictment will come sooner rather than later. And the Seven of Cups, illusion and delusion. Somebody that comes up with a slogan that talks about the future by referencing the past is like deluded here. And we've got the Two of Swords. He's at the crossroads. And we have the Nine of Wands. So very much weary from the battles, but he's still got this devil energy coming over him. The meaning had to do with his defense, okay? Standing his ground, defense. We've got the Five of Wands, creating division. And also around the King of Cups. This is getting quite serious. Victory over who? It could be over Biden, could be over Merrick Garland. I wouldn't put anything past him. There's also some kind of, given the Empress card flew out, there was also some kind of connection here with Russia. Okay, so remembering back to the astrology and his chart, you know, I think it's inevitable that he goes down, and he'll take a lot of people with him, and for good reason as well. So 40 subpoenas, it had to do with the 40 subpoenas to his lawyers, and also fanning the base and mobilizing the MAGA. And he was asking those workers to take messages, to carry information for him. Okay, so the Secret Service detail with Trump. Are they double agents? The Secret Service detail that are with Trump, plants, if you like, just as he was a plant. You know, that's the world you live in. The Secret Service around Trump, are they double agents? Where are their loyalties? Are they loyal to the US government, the current US government? Are they loyal to Biden? Are the Secret Service agents, are they loyal to Biden? Around Trump, are the Secret Service agents around Trump loyal to Biden? Because that Secret Service detail was there. We've got the Wheel of Fortune card, that's Jupiter energy. And we've got the 10 of Cups, which is the voters. So good cards so far. The Queen of Pentacles is the foundation, national security. The past, we have the Tower card, the January the 6th. I think that has rooted out a lot of Secret Service that may have been loyal to a President Trump, not so much now. We have the Queen of Wands. I always get that. That to me is Lisa Monaco, who is the Assistant Attorney General, I think, that's running this. They're worried. They're worried about what is being said. And the Six of Cups, the past energy. They're worried about their role in January the 6th in the past, okay? And the Queen of Swords, they could even be called up to give testimony by Garland. Garland could subpoena these people. They're worried about their role, that they maybe didn't alert when they should have. It has to do with January the 6th. Now, I was going to ask, are they double agents? Are they double agents? So this is really desperate stuff from Trump. Are the Secret Service double agents? Page of Wands. That's the communication card, and the Ace of Cups. And the Eight of Pentacles, their work. And Ten of Swords, complete and utter downfall here. We've got 3 yes cards and a no, and we've got the Devil energy. Perhaps some are hedging their bets. I don't see what else is below there. The Devil energy and the King of Swords. The investigator, the prosecutor, are they double agents? Knight of Wands on the movement, on moving forward and defending themselves and manifestation. Working in teams. It's a possibility. It's a possibility, but it's also a possibility that the devil-like energy of Trump that changed so many to him, that underbelly type energy dressed up as, so-called truth. The lie becomes the truth becomes the lie, the upside down world. Some of the Secret Service have bought into that. All right, I'm going to finish this now. I hope you've enjoyed that reading. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I'll be back again soon.